Hello, welcome to this update. Let's see the severe weather. So we have still a slight risk there. For today, a little bit bigger, but it's like in southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, parts of West Virginia, and Kentucky. And then this big marginal risk in parts of New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, northern Texas, southern Kansas, northern Arkansas, Missouri, parts of the Midwest, and all the way down to northern Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia. So, in the general risk of thunderstorms, parts of the Northeast, in the South, and some other areas. So, tornado threat is just 2% in Wisconsin, northern Illinois, parts of northeastern Iowa, and southeastern Minnesota. Another bigger 2% in the slight risk from southern Illinois to Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Indiana. So be aware. Wind threat is in all areas 5 and 15%, so be aware especially in the 15%, and hail just 5% from Colorado to South Carolina and north to Wisconsin and southern UP of Michigan. So be aware in those areas. Let's see. Severe thunderstorms were possible today across parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, with a threat of damaging winds, isolated hail, and a tornado or two. So be aware there. They even mentioned a tornado possible. So, and some damaging winds and hail. So be careful. Let's see for tomorrow. There's just a marginal risk tomorrow in parts of the East Coast and even the Appalachians and Ohio Valley. So like from Georgia to New Jersey and all the way west to Indiana and Kentucky and Illinois. So be aware, and a general risk of thunderstorms throughout the east, the central areas, parts of the northwest, and another marginal risk in southern Arizona and New Mexico. So let's see, wind threat in Arizona and the east tomorrow, hail threat less than 5%, tornado threat less than 2%. So let's see, scare strong to occasionally severe storms are possible Friday across the Ohio-Tennessee Valley to the Atlantic coast. So be aware for Friday. For Saturday, there's another marginal risk in parts of Minnesota, North and South Dakota, a general risk of thunderstorms throughout many areas of the west and the plains and the east, and another marginal risk from Alabama to New York. So let's see, probabilistic 5%. Scare strong to severe storms are possible in the southeast and mid-Atlantic on Saturday and Sunday afternoon and evening. On Saturday afternoon and evening. A few isolated severe storms are possible in the northern plains and upper Midwest. So be aware for Saturday. Now for Sunday and later, there's nothing yet. So let's see. The fire threat, they don't have anything today, but tomorrow for Friday there's an isolated dry thunderstorm threat in parts of California, Nevada, Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. Some isolated dry thunderstorms possible Friday tomorrow, so be aware there. Let's see the model for today, the HER. It shows some showers there, but then it shows those storms forming by the early afternoon there. They keep going, get very strong in Indiana, might be some very damaging winds there. Then they continue to Ohio, still some severe storms there by this evening, and more storms in Kentucky by this evening, some strong ones, and then they dissipate a little bit. And tomorrow we might have more storms in the northeast and some areas there. So let's see. It also shows some more storms in Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas because of the other part of the marginal risk. So be aware. Some in Kansas and Oklahoma by this evening and tonight, but mainly there in New Mexico into Texas, and shows more storms in Mexico and southern Arizona today. And yeah, be careful, specifically with those ones there this afternoon. So let's see. it's the map for today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow. They have a discussion here in Kentucky for some rainfall there from some storms, so be aware of some maybe flash flooding. Precipitation for today, more in the Ohio Valley, Florida, the Midwest, and there in New Mexico and Texas and Oklahoma. Tomorrow, some more in the west, more in the Tennessee Valley, Ohio Valley, and all the areas there. Let's see. For Saturday, more in Florida, more in parts of the Northeast, Atlantic coast. For later, for Sunday, shows more in parts of the Northeast, Canada, especially the north there into Canada, the west and Florida there. Let's see. Day 5, so that was Sunday. Okay, day 5 for Monday shows more in the upper Midwest, more in Florida from the system, more in parts of the west. For day 6, Tuesday, shows more in the west, more in some areas there, still more in Florida. Day 7, some more in Florida, the southeast, Ohio Valley, and the west, especially in Colorado. So days 1 through 7 shows a lot there in the west, in Colorado, New Mexico, Montana, more into Canada, lots in the upper Midwest, more in the Atlantic coast, and a lot in Florida. More than 4 or 5 inches there the next 7 days. So let's see. An excessive rainfall. There's a slight today from Wisconsin to Tennessee, and a marginal from California to Oklahoma. And there's this marginal from Wisconsin to North Carolina. Let's see. Friday there's a marginal from California to Colorado, a marginal from Massachusetts to Tennessee, and a slight in Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, and Virginia. Let's see. For Saturday, shows a marginal in the southwest, a marginal in Oregon, a marginal in the upper Midwest, and a marginal from South Carolina to New Hampshire. For Sunday, shows a slight in Florida, a marginal there in Florida, in southern Georgia, shows a marginal from northern Virginia to Maine, a marginal from Montana to Minnesota, and a marginal from Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado. Day 5, Monday, another slight through Florida, marginal in Florida and northern Georgia, another slight in Minnesota and Wisconsin, a marginal from North Dakota to Indiana, and a marginal from Arizona to southern Wyoming. So let's see, in day 3, for Saturday, already a marginal in Florida. Day 2, nothing. Yes, so this is mainly it. Let's see. Still some more heat coming to the west, some areas of extreme heat risk today through Sunday, so be careful on the west there. Let's see. And still in the south, so Wednesday, Thursday, still some Friday and Sunday shows still some areas of extreme heat risk in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama, Florida, so please be careful with the heat and the heat risk in those areas. Lots of majors too. So let's see. The temperatures for today show still 100s in the plains, some 90s in the southeast, 100s in the southwest, in the west. For tomorrow shows more 100s in the south, more 90s in parts of the plains, 100s in the plains and in the north, more 90s in the south and east. For Saturday shows more 100s in the northern plains, in the southern plains too, more 90s in the southeast, 100s on the southwest, and more 90s there on the west. For Sunday shows more 100s in the plains, 90s and 100s in Texas, in the south, still some 90s in Florida, some 80s further south, shows 90s all the way to the Ohio Valley, more 100s in the southwest, and some 90s and even 100 in Washington. Let's see. For Monday, shows more 100s in the plains, please be careful, more 90s, some 80s in the southeast, some 100s still in the southwest, and 100s in the west. Next Tuesday, let's see, shows still some 100s in the plains, especially in Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas, more 100s in the southwest, still some 90s in other areas. Finally, next Wednesday shows more 70s in the north there, more 100s in the southern plains, 90s in the south, southeast, 100s in the southwest, and 90s in the west. So be aware. And the max wind gusts for today shows still maybe some gusty winds in southern Arizona, in Texas, parts of the Midwest, maybe some gusty winds parts of California and Oregon. So this is valid until August 2nd at 10 a.m. So some hazards, these change all the time, but let's see. Some heat advisories, many areas, all the way from Texas to Massachusetts, including basically all of Florida, and some heat warnings in parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Kansas, southern Illinois and Kentucky, some flood watches in Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, and Iowa, air quality advisories in Colorado, big wildfire there. Check the community posts. More heat warnings throughout the Northwest and parts of Montana. Air quality advisories in Oregon. And that yellow in Utah and California is like dense smoke advisories for the fires. So be careful there. Excessive heat watches in the Southwest. A small wind advisory in Central Alaska shows some stuff there. Yeah, but beware. And now for Canada, we have some thunderstorm outlook for today in British Columbia. Shows maybe some areas of very slight thunderstorms, like minor thunderstorms, like not strong, possible. Shows for the northwestern territories and some areas there. Shows some minor thunderstorm possible too, in especially some southern areas into Yukon, and shows the prairies, the biggest risk in northwestern Ontario and Manitoba. Shows there potentially some moderate thunderstorms today there, and some minor thunderstorms in parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and other areas. So I think this is today, yes. So for tomorrow shows a similar thing. So this is tonight, and tomorrow a similar thing. Some moderate thunderstorms there. This is for Ontario. That was Wednesday, so Thursday for today shows some minor thunderstorm probabilities there in Ontario, and maybe a little bit stronger in northwestern Ontario. And day 3 tomorrow shows more minor thunderstorm probabilities. Quebec doesn't have. Atlantic Canada for today shows some minor thunderstorm probabilities there, and we'll show you a better map in a second. So let's see here. Some warnings. We still have heat warnings through southern Saskatchewan and Ontario and many areas there, especially southern Alberta. Some daytime temperatures between 29 and 36 degrees. In other areas of Alberta, lots of air quality advisories for the wildfires. Heat warnings for parts of southern British Columbia and southern Alberta. More heat warnings there in southern British Columbia. Extended period of hot temperatures is expected until the end of the weekend. Shows some air quality statements there for the smoke. Let's see, northern Alberta shows some air quality advisories. Northwestern Territories, some air quality advisories for the fires. This area of Nunavut shows a rainfall warning, heavy at times, so Thursday afternoon to Friday midday. Be aware there in Nunavut, especially in that small city there. And let's see, in Ontario, a bunch of warnings there for heat, so mainly heat warnings. So heat event will continue through Friday, 29 to 32 degrees possible. Continues today through Friday, so be aware. More heat warnings in southeastern Alberta and maybe into Quebec there. Shows some heat warnings. More heat warnings in southern Ontario. Shows more 30 to 32 degrees in southern Ontario there and parts of Quebec. In Newfoundland, also some heat warnings for 28 to 31 degrees. Might be some high humidity too, and a rainfall warning there in parts of Powell, Sanders, and the Straits. Heavy rain expected this afternoon until Friday afternoon, so be aware there. So this one is change all the time, so you can always check here. And this is a landslide we had today and yesterday in parts of the Farewell Canyon. So there's still some flood watches for the Chicotin River there. Downstream of the landslide, some flood warnings, Chicotin River, upstream from the landslide, and vicinity of Farewell Canyon, and even an evacuation order from the Hansville to Fraser River. So be aware there, those flood watches and stuff. The fire danger is rising a little bit there because of the heat. Shows this is some extreme fire danger southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan. Other parts of Alberta some high, moderate fire danger. In British Columbia too. So be aware there. And the thunderstorm threat for today is a general risk of thunderstorms throughout northeastern British Columbia, northern Alberta, northern Saskatchewan, southern Western Territories, into southern Nunavut, and they have a severe possible northwestern Manitoba there. So northwestern Manitoba might be a severe storm or two. Show some strong winds, large hail, and heavy rain there. And even into north, no, that's northeastern Manitoba, I think so. Into northwestern Ontario, there might be some stronger storms too. Northwestern Ontario there. So be aware today. And then the temperatures today in eastern Canada shows high into the 20s and some feels like into the 30s. 30 in Montreal, and let's see some 30s in Ontario and other areas. And the thunderstorm forecast for southern Ontario calls for some thunderstorms possible in southern Ontario, some heavy rains, the main hazard, some strong winds, and small hail. So be aware, just general risk of storms. And for Atlantic Canada and Quebec, shows general risk of thunderstorms throughout central Quebec, parts of Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, some general risk of storms. Mainly torrential rain is the hazard, so be aware in those areas there. And some 20s in parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and higher into the 30s in southern Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, so be aware. And then in Western Canada shows mainly to the 20s today and even 30s in a spot or two, especially in British Columbia, so southern British Columbia and southern Alberta there. And let's see if there's something else here important. It shows some rains is still possible in Western Canada today, maybe some snow in the mountain further north. And then Friday the 2nd mainly quiet, Saturday quiet except for some storms in Alberta. As Sunday still shows some storms there and some showers there. Monday shows more showers and storms throughout Western Canada. Tuesday still some showers in southern British Columbia and Alberta by Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the rest is too far out. And then like some areas of Alaska might have more by next Friday the 9th. And let's see here, central Canada shows that system coming today. Those potentially stronger to severe storms in Manitoba today, and western Ontario this afternoon and this evening. The system keeps going, more storms in Quebec tomorrow and eastern Ontario. Sunday shows kind of quiet, and then more showers and storms coming by Monday there. Tuesday, some stronger storms there for central Canada. Wednesday, and then they go down to the U.S. and the rest is far out. Let's see for for eastern Canada, we have that line of showers and storms through Quebec, going to Atlantic Canada and then leaving. Might have some storms or two in other areas, and that system comes by Friday tomorrow. More strong storms in Quebec, like near the Hudson Bay. So they keep going there until Saturday. More storms in some areas by Saturday. Sunday, not much. Maybe Atlantic Canada by Monday. And we might have more systems later. So this is mainly it. Let's see this thing here. So the HER shows the storms in the US today, those very strong storms there. And interestingly enough, the HER is also showing some very strong storms in Wisconsin there. So be aware in Wisconsin, in New Mexico, going to the Oklahoma Panhandle and Texas. some stronger storms maybe in Arizona too and Mexico. And then in Canada there, it shows us some storms in Quebec, but nothing crazy. The worst of the storms will be like beyond this map in northern Manitoba and Ontario, like I showed you in the other model. So this is it. Stay safe.